Alright guys, I've had a request to have a go at playing the bot Martin using the London system. So we're going to have a go at that. So I've chosen the white pieces and we're going with d4. So he's played e6. Okay, so I'll just continue as normal, develop the dark square bishop, which is going to sit outside of my pawn chain pyramid. And this is a mistake straight off, because I have two attackers on this pawn. It's defended only once by the queen, so I can capture either with the pawn or the bishop, but the bishop makes most sense. The bishop's now also looking at this pawn, and now I can capture the queen. Okay, and because I'm that far up in material, I'm just going to keep gobbling my way. So really what Martin should have done there is capture the bishop with the knight, rather than moving the knight there to block the check. So very basic blunder there. Okay, I'm going to develop my knight now. Get my king castle to safety. Let's just bring my bishop to here, may as well. This should be fairly straightforward now, as I'm the only player with a queen on. So normally in the London you'd play this pawn to c3. I'm going to play it all the way to c4. I want to get my queen out into the board, develop my last knight. Okay, just castle my king to safety. Now it's just a question of not making any huge mistakes. So, alright, I want to get my knight, get my knight a bit closer to that king. So let's advance these knights up. This one is also a possibility, look at that. Now I want to bring my queen in. Oh, there's a fork here, look. The knight can capture this pawn on f7. Typical target for knights, forking king and rook. So now we win a rook. Okay, Martin has neglected to recapture. Oh, he couldn't recapture anyway, so here, bring the queen in with check here. And now let's do another check with the knight. So now the king's going to have to move back. Okay, now another check, and this comes with a discovered attack. This is actually a double check. And now we actually have another fork, but on the 7th rank on king and knight, which is very odd. That does not happen very often. Okay, let's check again with the queen. So with all these checks, what I'm trying to do is just increase the pressure. And these are forcing moves. I'm making my opponent have to respond, and in many cases play moves that he doesn't want to play. So now I've actually got two pieces again, looking at this pawn, right? Counting attackers and defenders. There's only one defender in the form of that knight. So I can now capture the pawn, but not with the queen. That would be foolish. And now I can take the knight again. So Martin just simply fails to capture when he should, and that is a pattern with some of these bots. Okay, so I'm going to throw in a check again. King has to move to 7th rank now. And that's just a question of closing him down. And if I play my knight here, I've got queen there, mate, potentially. Okay, there's another check with the knight. So you can feel my pieces now closing in on Martin's position. Yes, now I can't block with the bishop because my queen is protected by the knight. And there's one more check. There's only one move, and there we go, checkmate. All right, so that's Martin. I'm going to do we'll do another one against Martin, and we're going to play as black now. And we're going to use the reverse London system, whatever he does. Okay, so again, queen's pawn out, and now queen's bishop out, and now complete my pyramid. Okay, I'm going to bring my knight in first, just contesting this square. I don't want to give him that square. Okay, now he's moved a rook, and that means he can't anymore castle queen side. So if he's going to castle, he's going to castle king side. So now I think bringing my bishop, no, I think that's a good square for my bishop anyway. This is the traditional square. Okay, let's play. I'm kind of wanting to push my pawns up, so I don't know if I want to put my knight on here, because I think he's going to want to castle in this direction, so I might just delay that. I'm going to play a pawn to here, just takes away this square from my opponent, and I'm going to start pushing pawns up now. Okay, he's retreated his knight. That's interesting. I'm going to drop my bishop back here. No, this pawn is actually pinned because there's a rook behind it, so he can't move this pawn without allowing me to capture his rook. And now I'm quite fancying this diagonal here. This is a weakening move. There's really no requirement to do that at this point. He might push another pawn, that's fine. Okay, now I can just capture the rook, and all very simple. Okay, now I think it's time to just complete development. Still got minor pieces at home, I'm going to move them. Alright, let's get the bishop out of there, out of trouble. There's another queen move. I'd love to put this bishop there, but it currently would be undefended. So let's now develop my queen. That's not a free pawn, so I think just retreat the bishop. This pawn's still pinned. Oh, now the king's moved, so it takes away my idea of the pin on the queen, which he could have met with the c3 pawn. However, if I can persuade this pawn to disappear, I have a knight fork then on the king and the queen. So let's push that pawn up there and see if he bites. He did not bite. Okay, so I'll just capture the pawn, and now I can capture the knight. It's good practice playing some of these bots, just spotting opportunities when they present themselves. So I think right now, I don't think there's anything I can do to save that pawn. I'm going to push this pawn up the board, try and get rid of this fellow. Okay, so I've got one attacker in the form of my knight. I've got another check there, that's quite nice. Again, I'm up in material, so trades, especially trading a queen for a bishop, that suits me just fine. And now we're looking at the possibility of a smothered mate, which is quite unusual. Okay, that's now no longer on the cards, but I do have a free bishop. Knight's not attacking anything critical, so I think I'm just going to castle now, bring my other rook into the game. Okay, I can't capture there. He's got two defenders on that pawn actually, knight and king. So let's bring the rook in like I said. Okay, now I'm going to trade. Well, I wanted to trade, but apparently he didn't. This pawn's hanging. Grab it with the knight. And I think I need to bring my queen in now. Got some nice squares controlled by these knights here. Up there. I can check with the knight. Okay. And can't capture that. Defend. Oh, I can. If bishop then takes, I can grab the rook with my queen. Okay, so I'm going to take that. Okay, now I win the rook and the free pawn. So the goldfish method would really be helpful here, I think. So what squares does the king have now? If I'm playing my bishop there, see, you don't always have to react with your first idea. Or even queen here. Gives him two options. Let's play that. Let's lift a rook up. So So now we've covered off these squares, and take the pawn with check. Why not? We're getting close to mate here. I think this might even be checkmate. There we go, that's checkmate. Okay, so there you go. Two approaches, beating Martin as white and black, both with the London system setup. So for the commentator who requested that, thank you for that. Hope it's been helpful, and let me know how you get on. Hopefully we'll be progressing your way through these bots over the coming weeks. Thanks for watching, and see you soon.